All right, guys. Good morning. It is Tuesday. Markets are down a little bit today. What happens? What's up, Ava, Ash, Brian? Markets are down. On, Bunny, David. Ugh. All right, guys, we're here. We had bank earnings come out this morning already. Bank earnings are already out. Most of them, at least. We had JP Morgan come out with their numbers. JP Morgan showed 507. They expected 483, surprise of 5%. They came in at 71.9 billion in revenue versus 44.66 billion expected. Way better than expected revenue for JP Morgan. Honestly, they must have seen something they didn't like because their revenue came in very good, very good. Wells Fargo showed 173 versus 155 EPS, 31.91 billion versus 21.16 billion expected. Wells is up to $81 a share. If you take a look at Bitcoin came all the way back down. If we look at spot Bitcoin here on like TradingView, Bitcoin has been struggling the last few days, although it looks like it's starting to bounce back a little bit here. Like, look, here's Bitcoin. It looks like it's coming back some. It's back up to 111s, dropped all the way down to 110s. But it's been a rough morning for Bitcoin. You can see here's the 14th. Started out at about 116s. A lot of people were optimistic, and then it fell right back down today for Bitcoin. So yeah, Bitcoin struggling a little bit. There were about... Let me see, hold on. Yeah, there was about... How many liquidations? 630 million in liquidations have been recorded in roughly the last 24 hours. 624 with 213,938 traders liquidated. Earlier, a record 19 billion that we talked about yesterday happened, and leveraged crypto positions wiped out on Friday, which is still casting a shadow over everything, I think. Yeah, Bitcoin down. Starting to rebound back up, though. Let's see if it comes back here. Nvidia also had a pretty big retracement. Nvidia was up to almost 190s yesterday. Hit 195s a few days ago. It's now back down to 184s. The NASDAQ is red as well. It's all the way back down to 24.6s. You know, it was at 25s a few days ago. So the NASDAQ has been dipping down here as well. If we, I think if you look at like an hourly chart here. All right, I'm going to put the regular NQ up. If you look at like an hourly chart, you can kind of see what's going on. So here's the big drop from Friday right here, and then yesterday we rebounded back up to almost 25k, and then now today we are back down here. And so continuation of this red drop that we've seen in the NASDAQ. It's mostly sparked by, you know, a bunch of different things, but renewed US-China trade tensions essentially over the last week. S&P, NASDAQ, Dow lower. Oil is higher today, so you know, de-escalation news for oil. Oil's down. I'm sorry, I retract my previous statement. Oil is down on de-escalation and trade conflict, meaning more supply, cheaper oil is essentially what that means. Again, China has retaliated, imposing port fees on shipping firms, escalating trade tensions again. Broadcom pulling back a little bit after its OpenAI news yesterday at 347s. Rare earth and mineral companies are ripping up here. USAR, $42 a share. MP Materials, $100 a share. Banks had earnings. Again, JP Morgan, BDPS beat revenue. They're about flat on the day. Wells Fargo, BDPS beat revenue. They're up. They're beating it by a pretty big margin as well. If we take a look at Treasuries this morning, 10-year is down even more. It's down to under 4.01% right now. Here's the 10-year Treasury yield. You look at a 5-day chart, you can see it's been dropping more and more here. Now, we are going to get CPI inflation data next week on Friday. But we don't really have any data that might change this too. Now, one of the things that's going to move treasuries here and ultimately interest rate sentiment, which is what 10-year yields are looking at, is interest rate sentiment. One of the things that is going to move this is Jerome Powell's speech today. It's at roughly noon. I think it's at 12:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That will move yields 100% as long as he speaks about economics and outlook. Gold up to over 4,100 ounce. An ounce up to over 4,100 at 41.50s an ounce. Hit almost $4,200 an ounce Not that long ago. So gold up, NASDAQ, S&P down, Nvidia down, Bitcoin, crypto down. Banks are kind of flat to up, and yeah. Yeah, crypto liquidations. Will the shutdown be over today? It could be. It's unlikely that it is, but it could be. They were supposed to meet again today, I'm pretty sure. Let me confirm this. But I'm 80% sure they're supposed to meet today. I'm pretty sure they're meeting at the very least to do some votes in the Senate today, but or Congress. It's highly unlikely. But the Senate, which left town last week, scheduled to reconvene this afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern time. They're expected to continue the cycle of failed procedural votes. But yeah, the House is technically scheduled to reconvene today at 2 p.m. Although the Speaker has designated the period from October 14th to the 19th as a district work period, means the House is not expected to conduct legislative business related to ending the shutdown. The reality of it is most people think the shutdown is going to last a long, and I hope it doesn't. I cover economic data, so I hope it ends sooner than later, but I'm just not optimistic it is, and I'd rather just be real with you guys versus, one of the things that happens in trading is like people get mad at the facts behind things, right? They're like, me just being like Bitcoin's down today, some people might get mad at that because they don't want Bitcoin to be down, even though that's what's actually going on. Confirmation bias is rampant in trading. People just want to believe what they want to believe, and anytime somebody gives them facts that go against that, they get kind of upset sometimes. Not always. Some people are reasonable, some people aren't, But yeah, Bitcoin's down today. Yeah, neither side is really giving a compromise signal, so it's pretty unlikely the shutdown is going to. But yeah, we'll see what happens. NASDAQ right at the 200 exponential. I'm kind of tempted to short this right here, to be honest. I have to catch it. The range is pretty big today, though, but we'll try it. We'll try it. A little early for a short, but you know what? We'll take it. I think we're pretty green on this account, too. I just want it down to 600 right here. Psychological level. Might test it. Yeah, I think it's 12:20 actually. Before, is when Powell speaks. I think it's 12:20. Yeah, it's at 12:20 p.m. Just so you don't miss it. We're gonna stream it, but I think it's 12:20. There we go. I took half off right there just to lock the profit in. Ooh, just in time. Oh, weird candlesticks. Trying to get over the 200 exponential. I don't really like this position as much anymore, but we're kind of flat on it now, which is good. I'll see if we reject immediately, which we did. But if we get bought back up, it's a risk. Keeps getting bumped back down. We're kind of flat right now, but I don't really trust this at all. I'll give it one more second, but Yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. We're basically flat on the day. Luckily, we took some profit down at the bottom there. It might reject and come back down, but it's too early for me to really be trading super actively, I think. Jerome Powell's 12:20 p.m. Eastern time. Ooh, but markets are down right now, man. Look at Bitcoin. Look at crypto. Bitcoin down to 111s, 112, almost 112s right now. Again, Nvidia has retraced big. Gold is flying up. It's at 41.55 right now. So a lot of stuff going on in markets. We did have some earnings release. All right, so China's Premier Li is speaking right now, and he has said, quote, "We are to strengthen counter-cyclical adjustments should regulate disorderly competition." He's speaking right now. In a poll, they think U.S. 10-year Treasury yield is more likely to be higher than expectations than lower. 19 out of 31 bond strategists think the 10-year Treasury yield is going to rise 4.1 to 4.1% in 3 months and trade at that level in 6 months versus 4.2% in September poll. So they actually decreased it a little bit versus September. Yeah, look at gold, man. Gold up to almost 4,200s. It's getting close to 5,000 for gold. You just got to be careful. Again, JP Morgan BDPS beat revenue. Wells Fargo BDPS beat revenue. Johnson & Johnson BDPS beat revenue slightly. BlackRock BDPS beat revenue. Yeah, just so you understand the game these all companies, all major public companies play. Their job is to make it slightly better than expected, at least, right? Like they're gonna put out their expectations or their numbers, and they're kind of playing this game where they want the analysts to make their expectations lower so that they can beat the expectations. It's a game they play, and looks like they're doing pretty good at it for banks. Rate cuts coming? I don't know. If we take a look at the rate odds here this morning, we take a look at rate odds. Still 98 to 2% likely that we're going to cut rates 25 basis points. Again, this is 25 right here. And this is a pause. So about a 2% chance that we're going to pause, about a 25% chance that we're going to cut rates 25 basis points. So it's not looking super likely that we're going to do anything. But one of the things that can swing this the opposite direction is CPI inflation data. They've rescheduled it. They're going to release it even during, even amid the shutdown. They're going to release CPI. It's going to be Friday, October 24th. So next Friday is when the CPI data is coming out. They're still going to be releasing it. And so, yeah, y'all just be careful. Yeah, again, I told you guys once, I'll say it again. I think they're going to do 25, 25, 25. Personally, what I think they're going to do. My short would have worked here, but it's okay. We retrace, I'll short again. Maybe being a little greedy here. But I want that 24,600 level. We'll take one. Keep it small. Maybe add to it. The range is big enough where you probably take one or two. There we go. Dropping. Might add a little bit if we start to retrace. Do now. I want that 24.6 level. There we go. Take half off there. Lock profit in. I'd like 24.6. But I'm going to cut it early and just be green on the day. Look at NVIDIA, guys. This is mostly driven by, I think, NVIDIA right now. Look at NVIDIA fall here. Look at NVIDIA. So NVIDIA falling down pretty big this morning. It was at 190s yesterday. Gold's very sideways. Bitcoin's starting to fight back though. Let's see if it rebounds. News keeps getting worse. Yeah. Looks like I got out in just in time. Bro needs to zoom out. Listen, I'm just shorting this small range here. You know, me shorting the 200 exponential down to 24.6, this range, does not mean I'm ultimately hyper bearish on anything. It just doesn't, right? Like, you gotta, like, you don't want to ever get emotional if people take short-term trades in one specific direction. It's just not a reasonable thing to do in markets. We're day trading very short-term here, so regardless of whether it rebounds back up or down, you know, doesn't matter. Let's do a poll. I don't think I've done a poll. What's the poll? Does the market rebound today or continue its downward movement? All right, there's the poll. I think the market still fears inflation. I think it always fears inflation. Goldman Sachs posted earnings. They posted $12.25 versus $10.89. EPS revenue of $15.18 billion versus $14.42 billion. The Goldman Sachs GS BDPSB revenue, they're still down though. A lot of banks are not really reacting the most favorably. But again, some developments in U.S.-China trade relations and news. China has begun imposing a port fee on U.S.-linked vessels in retaliation for U.S. fees on Chinese ships, escalating the maritime trade tensions. Beijing also sanctioned 5 U.S. units of South Korea's Hanwha Ocean over U.S. investigations into Chinese shipbuilding dominance. They did hold working level talks yesterday. China urged the U.S. to show sincerity in warning against intimidation. Besant also accused Beijing of trying to hurt the global economy by deploying export controls and supply chain coercion. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's the news this morning. Markets are mostly down. Although if you look at the NASDAQ here, it's pretty down. Previous closing prices all the way up here at 24.9s. We're at 24.6s. So NASDAQ's down, Bitcoin's down, the SPY and the S&P are down. Tech is mostly down. So again, the China Premier says they need to grasp the economic situation from a broader viewpoint via CCTV, and that they should implement counter-cyclical adjustment and make full use of policy resources. $12:20 p.m. Eastern Time, U.S. is when Powell speaks. Albertson out. Yeah, gold is another really interesting one, man. Gold has been moving with markets for the most part for the last few months, really. Gold is now up big, and the NASDAQ and the S&P are down. So gold is up big today, hit almost $4,200 an ounce this morning. You know, the change is kind of getting to me here. You guys notice in the YouTube chat, it's no longer what your channel's called. It's only the URL of it, like the @ Does anybody notice that? Is that a recent update? One-day chart is the only chart. Yeah, if we're talking long-term investment, sure. I'm not going to day trade off the 1-year chart. That doesn't make any sense. Is it just me or is it y'all too? Like, look. So in the chat right now, it says @ in front of every name. Is that normal? Do you guys see that too? Like, it's no longer the channel name. It's instead the @ of whatever the channel is. See? Yeah, I just noticed it because I'm used to names in the chat. So. There's got to be a way you can maybe change it. Participants. Yeah, it doesn't even show me the channel name. It just shows me the @ now. Is the music too loud, guys? Let me know. The music too loud. NASDAQ push it back up. We're at 650s right now for the NASDAQ. Let's see if we hold over this. I'll turn it down slightly if that helps. Discord? Okay, gotcha. All right, rejecting 650 again. Yeah. Deutsche raises AVGO target price to $400 from $350. Morgan Stanley also raised them to $409 from $380s. Again, Broadcom pulling back after its big deal with OpenAI yesterday is back at 350s. Still elevated, but not as much as it was yesterday. 650 is rejecting the NASDAQ down a little bit. Bitcoin still looks to be fighting back up here. Here's Bitcoin futures. You see actual Bitcoin right here. The Bitcoin is bouncing back up a little bit. Back up to 111.6s. So let's see if it continues. Yeah, banks have already reported earnings. JP Morgan, BDPS beat revenue. Wells Fargo, BDPS. They all BDPS beat revenue, essentially. Like, I haven't seen any that missed anything except for Ericsson. But BlackRock, BDPS beat revenue. JP Morgan, BDPS beat revenue. Goldman Sachs, BDPS beat revenue. Citigroup is coming out at 8 a.m. in 20 minutes. Domino's, BDPS beat revenue. Wells Fargo, BDPS beat revenue. Johnson & Johnson, BDPS beat revenue. So most of them are already out this morning, and they beat EPS revenue. Downward pennant for 3 hour. How did Ericsson miss? Ericsson missed revenue. It expected 590. It came in at 582 for revenue. BDPS came in at 16 versus 14 cents. But I think Ericsson beat EPS by a small margin. There might be other stuff in the earnings report that's pushing it higher, and it looks like it is. I'm just talking about whether it... I'm not talking about... People get this misconception that if the stock goes up, that's an automatic beat, right? Like when somebody says they beat or miss, they're talking about their numbers, right? They're not talking about whether the stock goes up from earnings. They're talking about the numbers behind it. And in Ericsson's case, it missed revenue. It expected higher revenue than it showed up as. Now, other stuff's making it go higher here, but yeah, still missed revenue. It's the only thing that missed revenue this morning so far, except for Sonotech, which I don't even know what kind of company that is. So, no one looks at revenue. Yeah, I mean, Campbell, you're just wrong, brother. It's all good, you know. I would say more people look. more people look at revenue than they do look at margins, I would say, in terms of earnings. Like, I would say what's more influential, EPS or revenue? Revenue generally is, but it's always, it can be different. They're probably found something in Ericsson's numbers that they like, you know. Either way, don't be emotional, bro. It's okay, you know. I get it, you like Ericsson. Good job, dude, you know. But I'm just saying it missed revenue. These are the facts behind it. I'm not saying it's good, bad. I'm not saying it's up, down. I'm just saying it missed revenue. That's what it did. Sorry, man. I'm sorry. Nike's been getting slumped. Now, the whole market's kind of been slumped over the last week, but Nike has had a broader trend. The downside here, it was at $80 a share back in August. It's now at 66. Yeah, but Campbell, I think you're missing the point I'm trying to make here, you know. Which is that I'm just reporting the numbers, brother. You know, I'm not saying Ericsson's bad. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying, you know, it's up, it's down. I'm just saying revenue's important. People look at it 100%, and Ericsson missed revenue. That's all I'm saying. It's the only one. Look, when I look at these numbers here, it's the only one that's really the only one that's red here. Again, I don't even know what Ericsson is as a company. The only thing I remember Ericsson for is phones. And they had the old school brick phones. But that's Ericsson's revenue right there. It's red. That's all I know right now. That's all I know, bro. Yeah, Powell speaks in a long time. You hurt his feelings. Revenues are sensitive. I know, man. It seems like it. It seems like it's okay. I'm here for you, brother. I'm here, you know. Any news around 645? We don't really have any big news. I think we might have some... we got a bunch of Fed speakers today. We got Bowman at 8:45 speaking. Powell speaking at 12:20. Waller speaking at 3:25. Boston Fed Susan Collins speaking at 3:30. These are all Eastern time. Tomorrow we got the Empire State Manufacturing Index. That's good. Thursday we're supposed to have PPI and retail sales. Friday we got housing starts, building permits. Yeah, algorithms, I think, pick up early in the morning when everybody's asleep. But yeah, Bank of America, or not Bank of America. We had BlackRock, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan. All of these BDPS beat revenue, but other stuff is driving it from the earnings report. Like JP Morgan BDPS beat revenue, and it beat revenue by a large margin, but it's down 305s. They've found some other stuff that they saw in the earnings report. Wells Fargo, I think, is up to $81 a share, so Wells Fargo is gapping up. We're still pretty sideways here, though, in gold. Gold is holding this small range here. Yeah, what that news is, they began imposing port fees on U.S.-linked vessels. This was a retaliation for U.S. fees on Chinese ships, but that might have been what happened. But I'm pretty sure they announced that yesterday. And again, so 3, that the news you're actually talking about, sorry, now that I'm reading it, China reportedly toughens process for firms to obtain rare earth magnet export licenses. The export news is what started this on Friday last week, right? So China, a lot of people said they banned exports. They didn't ban it, they just really toughened the approval process. They made it so that not nearly as many are going to get approved. And this sparked the president coming out quoting things, and then that dropped the market, liquidated a bunch of crypto investors and traders, and that's ultimately what sparked this. But that was Friday, right? Now we've had trickling of news from both sides since then, but nothing major here. The president essentially came out saying that we were going to do 100% tariffs on them, and then backtracked a little bit once the market reacted negatively. Markets originally rebounded a little bit yesterday and Sunday, at least in futures, and now they're kind of back down some here. So again, if you zoom out and you look at like an hourly chart, yeah, this is earnings week. This week is mostly banks, but again, you can kind of see the big picture here, which is that Friday drop from president, 100% tariffs on China export restrictions. And, you know, the consequence was this big drop all the way down to here in the NASDAQ. You can see the crypto move if we zoom out in the same time period in crypto. Very similar movement here, although crypto didn't really react well yesterday either. That it bounced a little bit. But again, here's the same move for crypto. Here's the same drop. And again, we bounced back yesterday here, and now we're kind of back down. You know, now we're still pretty far from this low. I think this low down here, this low right around here is going to be an important level that people are going to be watching. I think if we break underneath this level here, I think we might get a big burst of sells or some squeezes on either side. I don't know. But I am certainly watching this. I have to zoom in and see where the exact low is. Hold on. Where the exact low is. Let me see. Yeah, this low right here at like 150. Going to be relevant. Like 150, 160 right here at the bottom, 24, 160. We break under 24s. I think 24,000 might even be a big level. If we start dropping underneath that, I'm not going to say we're going to crash, right? I'm going to be very careful with my words. I'm not going to say we're going to crash. What I'm going to say is that if we start dumping under some of these big milestone whole dollar numbers in the NASDAQ and the S&P, fears might get kind of reignited here a little bit. So just be careful. I'm not saying that's going to happen. Nobody really knows. And we are extended on the downside. I'm hoping we bounce back, to be honest. I think crypto's got a better shot to bounce back as well. So we'll see if we do. NASDAQ's starting to fight its way back up a little bit, but it's still at 24,650. Previous close is at 24,900. We'll see if we hold. Yeah, I've heard rumors that it was him that shorted. I don't know though, man. That's just rumors. What's up, Sam? What's up, David? Graf, Lee, Steve. You gotta get some Ericsson. It'll change your life. I know you like Ericsson. I get it. Again, the last Ericsson phone I had, I think I had an Ericsson phone one time. It's all love here, by the way, Campbell guy. I get it. But I had an Ericsson phone once. Here's a story, okay? When I was 17, I got a phone. I think it was an Ericsson phone, right? For my birthday, 1 year. And I got super excited about this phone. And my friend at the time had it was either a Type R. I don't think it was a Type R. I think it was just a souped up GSR, Integra GSR. And I had to kind of like go down into it to fit in it. And like my phone fell out of my pocket. And my friend zoomed off and I heard crunch on my birthday. Super sad. You know, pretty bummed out about it. I'm pretty sure that was an Ericsson phone that had happened to. Smashed my birthday present same day. My parents were mad for sure. But I think that's the only Ericsson I ever had. I think when I got another one, I got like a Nokia. It's a fun story, though. It's a good story. Is this a metaphor for the stock? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what Ericsson's doing nowadays. I really don't. I think they're dealing with like higher tech now versus phones. But I don't know. Oh, I had a Nokia. I had a brick Nokia. I had a bunch of them. Brick Nokias had a snake on them, you know. I lived through the cell phone evolution. We didn't get smartphones until 2007. And I didn't get a smartphone. Smartphones were for like really rich people up until like 2010, in my opinion. I didn't get a smartphone until like 2010, 2011, really. Before that, I had flip phones and cheap phones. I was notoriously bad with phones as well, though. Like, my ADHD makes me just forget it, lose it, break it, you know. Yeah, Ericsson's up, though. It's up 25% right now. Not quite 25, but close to it. Yeah, Ericsson's doing things this morning. Ericsson CEO says margins hit new highs despite ongoing tariff pressure. Q3 earnings rise, revenue decreases. Ericsson to upgrade Vodafone networks in certain markets. They signed a 5-year deal to modernize networks across 6 countries, programmable 5G solutions. Are they dealing with like towers now more than anything else? That would make sense. Looks like they do a lot of stuff overseas. Did I have a beeper? Never had a beeper. I'm not that old. No offense. By the time I was old enough to want some type of cellular device, beepers were long gone. I'm not that old, you know. They look cool though, you know. You look like you got stuff going on if you had a beeper back in the 90s. No offense, I'm not attacking you. I'm just being honest. By the time I was older, beepers were not a thing. Anyways, NASDAQ's still pushing up here. We're at 24,661s. I remember burning myself on those freaking lighters in cars a lot. You know, like I burned myself on those things accidentally at least 5 times that I can remember. So yeah, Russia facing severe domestic fuel shortages due to export bans. I mean, we've seen the bans happen over the last couple months. Refinery bottlenecks, sanction limiting parts and sales. Their government tried to stabilize it by restricting gas and diesel exports, but it kind of backfired. It hurt their oil revenue, which is a big part of their GDP. And so the Moscow exchange crashed more than 10 to 15% yesterday. Major energy and banking names falling. The Russian ruble weakened. Now, whether it's going to affect our markets, currently it's localized. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to trickle into us. I mean, we're kind of the ones doing it. So, I mean, you know, it would be ironic if it affected us negatively in any big way, but it could, you know. No, Powell speaks at 12:20 p.m. Eastern. What were you lighting? A whole bunch of stuff, I'm sure, you know. Teenage John. Yeah, we're at 24,650s right now. Yeah, beepers were 80s. It wasn't my generation. Although I do have good, like, all the TV I watched when I was really young was like 80s TV, you know. So I've got a soft spot in my heart for the 80s. Great music, you know. 80s were a little weird at times, but, you know, they looked fun. All right, guys, we're at 24,650s. Bitcoin's doing okay, though. It's back up. I mean, it's down on the day for sure. This Bitcoin rebound. Again, here's a Bitcoin chart. 111. It's kind of going sideways after rebounding a little bit. Let's see if it holds it. There is some resistance here short term. I remember Nextel. I had Nextel for a little while too, I think. So the BLK CEO Larry Fink says an estimated 1.5 trillion of investment will be needed in the next 5 years just for core and, does that say hell of data centers? Core and hell of data centers, whatever that means. But he basically said 1.5 trillion of investments will be needed in the next 5 years for data centers, basically, which makes sense with AI growth. We're going to need data centers to power it a little bit, so. But Matthew. Super important level. Yeah, 110 seems relevant for Bitcoin. 110 is right here. So, it looks like it wants to stay over that. Is the bias bull or long today? So we did a poll. We got about 500 votes so far. 41% think the market's going to rebound today. 41% think it's going to continue down. 17% think sideways. Yeah, it could be half. I don't know. Oil's down again today too, though. If you look at oil. 58.20. It's so cheap, I almost want to buy oil right now. But oil can move down a lot more, but it's just risky. But it seems cheap right now. This drop is mostly about U.S.-China relations. I'm still looking at news here. Again, Powell speaks later. Wall Street sees more swings ahead. S&P rebounded 1.6 yesterday, recovering much of last week's tariff losses, but Morgan Stanley, Evercore, and JP Morgan warned volatility may continue as tensions, the government shutdown, and high valuations cause fear to markets. They said, quote, political and fiscal developments along with Fed policy will likely fuel more volatility. Said P. Nardini of Simplify Asset Management. The index is in its fourth bull year with no 5% pullback in 97 sessions, well above the 59 session average. So it's causing some unease in markets, they're saying. All right, so the presidential office of South Korea says they're discussing with China over sanctions. We're slightly green on the day trading so far. We had some BlackRock's CEO estimates that more than 4.5 trillion in value is currently held in digital wallets across crypto, stablecoins, tokenized assets. Expect market to expand rapidly. Also, looking at AMD this morning, 213s. Gave back a lot of the gains it made, but still holding most of them. Wolf sees $300 AMD stock. Also, Citigroup just reported their numbers. I'll put this up in chat. The Citigroup just dropped. I appreciate your analysis on stock and crypto. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, it's weird. I can't see y'all's username. All I can see is your @ sign here. Yeah, Citigroup out. Earnings beat. Revenue came in higher. ES came in higher. So BLK, I think their earnings call is going live now, where the CEO is speaking. Larry Fink. Again, he estimates that more than 4.5 trillion in value is currently held in digital wallets across crypto, stablecoins, and tokenized assets. Salesforce and OpenAI partner across enterprise work and commerce. Salesforce and OpenAI deal just happened. Partnership. Here's Salesforce on the bottom, right here. Kind of quieting down though. Gold heading back up. It's over 4150s. Getting Goldman Sachs out. JP Morgan out. General Mills reaffirms long-term growth targets in next year's outlook. Look at the NASDAQ fall here, though. Look at this. Out of the 200 exponential. See if anything's driving this. We got the Bank of England's Taylor speaking. So we had JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, BlackRock this morning. Most of them beat. Goldman Sachs. Citigroup posted. Boeing awarded 2.7 multi-year contracts for PAC-3 seeker production. Citigroup also raised their dividend. Domino's Pizza is out. Ericsson is out. Johnson & Johnson. Oracle Cloud is going to deploy 50,000 AMD AI chips. Look at AMD rip here, guys. So we got some news this morning. Again, Oracle Cloud's going to deploy 50,000 AMD AI chips, according to CNBC. This is the news moving markets right now. AMD back up to 220s here. NASDAQ still down, back under the 200 exponential. Crypto falling down a little bit as well. Hey, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We're running with no economic data, but channel's still doing pretty good. We got about 1,000 here. Support the channel. We appreciate it. Hit the like button, the subscribe button. We got Jerome Powell later today. Again, Oracle Cloud deploying 50,000 AMD AI chips is the news. AMD ripping up. NASDAQ still falling down. I think a lot of this is driven by like NVIDIA dropping. Look at this. NVIDIA down to 184s. super green. Hi. Yeah, Nvidia falling down. AMD going up on the deal with the Oracle. 24,200s today? Maybe. Again, the lows of this move are important to watch. I think the lows down at roughly 24 here are the scary ones. I don't think we're going to hit that today. That's pretty... Not unless we have some really bad catalysts. Not unless Jerome Powell comes out and he's really like bearish somehow. Which I guess would mean hawkish, restrictive. Might make markets panic. But y'all just be careful. I don't know if he's always bearish. I think sometimes he's dovish. And I think since he doesn't have any data, you know, I mean, he could go the other way. We'll see. Honestly, I'm going to try shorting again right here. We're at the 200 exponential. It's a little risky for sure. But we'll play with it. It's early. It's small. We made a bunch of money yesterday, so we can do this. Go. I need to increase size a little bit today. It's just small size so far. I don't want to risk too much. But I was trying to get Phil down there. Yeah, that's the worst case move here. I think shorts are getting squeezed out like I just did. We were already green. We're still green on this account, but not what we wanted to see here. As I say that, the range is opening up a little bit. That's good. Bitcoin's still coming back down though, but maybe we'll rebound. Look at AMD. I think AMD's kind of saving this market right now. Look at 650s. We're bouncing back quick. Yeah, some news it looks like is going on here. Let me check. JP Morgan executives state consumers remain resilient with early stage delinquencies performing slightly better than expected. If the NASDAQ fills some of this gap. Look at this big move. This is mostly driven by, I think, AMD. We bounce back here. Yeah, you can fade me. It's all right. I'll be all right. It's still pretty small. It's like $50. Hey, nice, Marco. Good job, dude. At least you're making money more than me. NASDAQ looks strong right now, too. Those are 3 big candles. I think it's mostly driven by AMD news, though. And then I think Nvidia started to trend with AMD as well, kind of pushing it back up. Yeah, bank earnings are out. I mean, we're still kind of flat on the day, though. I mean, we were up prior to that, so we're just kind of going back and forth. I think it's hard to not get stuck in the chop sometimes if I trade too early. It's all good. It happens. Here's variance. See if this little pullback gets balled up, though, is what I'm curious about. Got that support level at 650. The news was mostly AMD driven, so like AMD came out and Intel said that they're gonna buy 50,000 AMD chips. Look at this level hold, so 650. Again, AMD starting to dip down. Let's see what Nvidia does. If AMD and Nvidia start pulling back, see, but this looks like a support level right here. Yeah, I mean, originally Nvidia reacted negatively to the AMD news. Now it's starting to come back a little bit. Bitcoin's starting to bounce back some too here. Here goes another pop up. It holds. Looks like it wants to hold here at 650, but it keeps testing it over and over again. Yeah. Looking up news, I don't really see much other news though. That's big. Outside of the AMD news. Banks earnings are already out. JP Morgan CFO says the investment banking outlook is quite good. Boeing says we're working closely with prime contractor Lockheed Martin and the U.S. Army to boost production rates. Still kind of waiting here. I did jump in a short right now. Show you guys this one. We're in this already. We're green, but I'm gonna try to let it break down a little bit more. I'm gonna cover a piece of it here, actually. Maybe I'll hold it break even. Take half off at the bottom. Rest break even. I like 630s here, but I don't know if I'm gonna get it. gonna take the rest off of there. Just well, OpenAI's done a deal with basically everybody. Yeah, 30-minute Sam is solid. I like the 30-minute chart too. I look at it on different, like y'all see the 1 minute because it's the most real time. But a lot of the times I'm looking at other time frames. One of the things that's been happening is I've been getting barely stopped out. So I just need I ended up jumping back in, you guys saw, and catching this. But one of the things that's happening is that I'm barely getting stopped out. Like the direction is correct. It's just kind of, it'll move up, stop me out, and then go back down. I might need to adjust where I'm getting out. All right. Yeah, Nova Minerals has got a $43.4 million U.S. Department of War grant for antimony production and receives key regulatory support. If you look at NVA, that's NVIDIA. So used to type in NVIDIA. Yeah, look at NVA rip up on this news. Up 100% right now. Let's check my algorithm, see how it's doing today. I've been watching it more. Not bad. A lot going on. Looks pretty solid though at predicting bottoms, tops. Go for the longer term one, see what that one looks like. I got a couple different algorithms. They all seem to be okay. Yeah, if we look at JP Morgan, down. Wells Fargo up. Goldman Sachs down from the earnings report. So a lot of bank companies did beat EPS and revenue, but they're still negative from these earnings reports. Yeah, this is the 200 exponential here, right here. So again, this is why I watch it. Because, I mean, even if we continue down, right? Like, you still sometimes get a little false stop at those levels. NASDAQ's kind of choppy right now. Yeah, I saw the Wolf Research AMD upgrade. I did see the AMD upgrade by Wolf. Again, it got an upgrade to $300 by them. So it's been moving up. Again, tech is mostly red on the day though. If you look at like Apple, back. But yeah, Apple's red. This. Apple's red. Meta's red. Google's red. AMD's green. Netflix is red. Amazon is red. So most things are red, but they kind of started the morning off really weak, and now they're kind of bouncing back or going sideways. Some of them are bouncing back. Powell's speech is at 12:20 p.m. Eastern. Still looking for news to come out. JP Morgan exec says we have a lot of assets out there entering bubble territory. Yeah, see, look at that 50 level rejecting here. Again, I don't know if it's this JP Morgan news about bubble territory. He just said it. He said, one of the execs says we have a lot of assets out there entering bubble territory. But they did say the investment banking outlook is good. So we'll see what that means, but AMD still pushing up. Yeah, I saw the 50,000 Oracle Cloud AI chip deployment news. That's what's pushing AMD higher, is the 50,000 chip news. Came out much earlier. Let me see. Better. Yeah, it is good news for AMD, and AMD's up from it. AMD's been volatile. It's mostly put out good news over the last few days, though. So again, Nvidia's pulling back. Nvidia was at 190. It's now down pretty big, but it's bouncing back up some. Yeah, so JP Morgan CEO Diamond says they have had credit bull market for 20 years, and this is early signs of some excess. Specifically what they said. Broadcom had big news with OpenAI deal yesterday. It kind of pulled back a little bit today, but it was up a lot. It's still holding most of its gains for AVGO. If you look at it, like here's an hourly chart. It's still holding most of the gains. Here's where it started. It started off at 330s. It's at 350s. Went as high as 370s yesterday. So. Again, what do you guys think Bitcoin does? Does Bitcoin bounce back? I got these charts up. Let me look at the NASDAQ. I mean, here's a different indicator. Like, I've got a bunch of different ones. Here's one of them. It seems to be okay. Here's one. Green here, it worked. This one was red here. It worked, especially if you look at it longer term. Got a red signal here. And it worked. We got... Look at that green signal right here. I mean, I think this one was kind of lucky, but still. Green here maybe worked. I would say that one didn't, so that's one. These two definitely worked, though. Look at these. This one worked, too. This one didn't. This one probably ambiguous, but probably not, too. See, the problem is, like, when something runs big, they show up too much. But outside of that, they work pretty well. Pullback, bounce, dip, questionable, worked, didn't work, worked. I don't know if I like this one as much as the other one, but it has its days. Like this was good, this was good, this one was good, on the top. This one was good, this one was good, this one was good, this one was good, this one was good. Was good. This one didn't work. This one worked. This one worked. This one was kind of ambiguous. I think it pushed up too much for my taste. So did this one. This one failed. This one worked though. Caught the bottom, top. I don't know. I might like this one more, honestly. It just depends on what's going on in markets, I think. All right, guys, almost 8:30. We don't really have any 8:30 news today. Not anything that is worth watching. Again, the government shut down. News is closed for now. We do have Canadian building permits, and Bowman starts speaking in about 20 minutes. We'll see what she says. Powell speaks at 12:20. Waller speaks at 3:25. Bailey speaks. Collins speaks. We do have the New York Empire State Manufacturing Index, which maybe will move things a little bit more now because everything else is closed. AMD will outperform NVIDIA as AMD is legit AI player since OpenAI partnership. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, data is relevant, but markets haven't cared about it lately. One thing they will care about, though, is CPI inflation next Friday. Yeah, for sure, Sam. I agree. Nova. NASDAQ starting to fight its way back up to the top of the range here. This is the next test of it. Might switch to a buy if we get down to 650s, but we'll see. Again, SPY giving up a lot of the gains it made, so did the NASDAQ, but we're starting to fight back. Still looking to see if they BlackRock CEO says US needs to accelerate regulatory clarity and investments in digital asset innovation. He also said they're developing their own tech for tokenization of assets. Read is infectious. Your thoughts on whether CPI will be good or bad? I really don't know. We can look at Truflation data. And I'm pretty sure the president says, quote, Time magazine wrote a relatively good story about me, but the picture may be the worst of all time. They disappeared my hair and then had something floating on top of my head that looked like a floating crown from an extremely small one. Really weird. I never liked taking pictures from underneath angles. But this is a super bad picture and deserves to be called out. Bro, you're the president. Just deal with it. You know? I get it. Bad pictures. I don't like bad pictures either. But, you know. It's a worse look to rant about it on social media, I think. To be honest. You gotta just deal with it. Again, I'm not picking sides. I'm pretty neutral on everything. But. Anyways. Back to CPI inflation data and Truflation. What does Truflation have it at right now? $2.3. They have it at 2.9%. Or 2.5%. He said versus the week it's up 2.3%. I don't know. I'm optimistic for CPI, but you never know. If you took a picture of your wife from that angle, you'd be on the couch for months. On the couch? Yeah. You're probably right. AMD. Look at the NASDAQ fall here, guys. AMD pulling back a little bit. I don't see any news drop in markets. We had Canadian building permits come out at negative 1.2% versus expected 0.2% positive numbers. We didn't have any other economic reports come out today. But again, Canadian building permits negative 1.2% versus forecast negative 1%. Or previous of negative 1%, sorry. Forecast was 0.2%. Look at this drop, though. This drop's coming quick. I'm not mad at the president for doing it. Again, I'm like, y'all think I'm being critical of the president. I'm not. Look, some of the things he does, I agree with. Some of the things he does, I disagree with. I'm not attacking him necessarily. I just think it's a funny post that the president doesn't like a picture. I think that's funny. And I think if you take yourself out of either side, I'm not rooting for anybody like it's my football team here. And I don't think you should either. I think most people are reasonably somewhere in the middle. I think the more you go radical to either side, the less smart you probably are. You know what I mean? And I think you got to just take emotions out of it. Have a laugh. It's okay. All right, guys, we're going down to 24,624s here, under the 200 exponential. Pretty sideways movement, though, right now. Right. Farmer. Oh. Name a politician that isn't, Brian. You know? Y'all are preaching to the choir. I'm pretty neutral in all of it. I don't like any politician, to be honest. I'm pretty neutral. I don't like both sides. You know? They're all crazy. And once you get to the top, they're all the same anyway. You know, so why does it matter? It's all a big show. They're just getting you guys involved. You know? Anyways, AMD at 221.80s. NASDAQ still coming down. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 red candles in a row. Where's the sacks? You mean Johnny Smooth? All right, guys. NASDAQ still falling here. See, some of them you could tell it's me. My daughter and I were having fun with this on AI. AI do a bunch of cool stuff. Look. This one you can actually tell it's me. That's why it's funny. Some of the other ones you can't really tell it's me. It doesn't really look like me. But yeah, the joke was that I told my daughter, I'm stuck at home with this leg brace. And so I'm just going to get really into the saxophone. Change my name. Grow my hair out. Start walking around her school, you know, with the saxophone. She would hate me. All right, guys. We're still breaking down. We're at 24,613s. Is that my Halloween costume? It should be. It should be. All right, guys, we're at 24. Let's watch 24,600s. NASDAQ's falling down here. What's your take on time travel? I don't know, bro. Love you. Good day. Okay, nice. Tank? Man, Jake Paul's, you know. Look at the NASDAQ fall. There's 24.6s here. NASDAQ's coming down right now. I don't really see anything except for Canadian building permits. Again, CPI not expected to be released tomorrow. Jobless claims not expected to be released Thursday. A lot of stuff's down, although CPI was rescheduled to next Friday. But I don't see any data causing this drop. I really don't. But the NASDAQ's falling down here. NASDAQ under 24.6s. Again, too much momentum to really stop it right now. I mean, we're getting AMD pullback. NVIDIA's falling down a little bit here. Anything else driving this move in stocks? Apple's falling down some for sure right now. Well, let's see what else. Yeah, Apple's down. Last 15 minutes. Dropping. Banks mostly BDPS and revenue, but they're dropping. Again, this is Apple falling down too. I don't see any news, but we are dipping in the NASDAQ, S&P. AMD fell. It doesn't mean much. Like, we could bounce back. SPY back down a little bit as well at 656. Bounced a little bit. We're now over 24.6s here, but things look weak. We are still in a range, though. I mean, look, here's the range. Very sideways so far. We could obviously bounce back. We're kind of, you know, we could come back up, but markets might be waiting for Jerome Powell. I think that's one of the stories, too. Jerome Powell speaks at 12:20, basically noon today, Eastern time. And so markets might just be fearful leading into Jerome Powell. You know, Jerome Powell is supposed to talk about economic outlook, the economy. Yeah, I just had AI do this for you guys. There you go. Added the knee brace. This is me right now. This is gonna be me by the time my knee heals. We're at 610s right now. He speaks at 12:20 p.m. Eastern time, technically. Where is the fuel to bounce back? I mean, I don't know. I mean, we're in a sideways range here, but the momentum's certainly on the downside. I'm not saying we're going to bounce back. I'm saying we could. You know, like if we're in a range like this, a bounce back like that, like this is possible for sure. Doesn't mean it's gonna happen, but possible. Tore my MCL. Not a full tear, or it's a tear, but it's not a rupture. I don't know, Bunny. If Jerome Powell walked outside tomorrow and stubbed his big toe on his right foot, does the NASDAQ go down or up from that? Again, AMD got up to 224s. Is now pulling back here. Look at that level. I must have drawn this level yesterday or the day before. I don't know when I drew this level on AMD, but we went right up there to it. Basically 224s is what we're testing here. NVIDIA is also kind of sideways as well, though. So a lot of these microchip stocks, AMD had big news where Oracle is going to be, I think it's buying $50,000 or 50,000 chips from AMD. And so AMD is up big from that, but it doesn't mean we're going to hold. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't my ACL. ACL is definitely worse than MCL, but this one wasn't good either. I did it in jiu-jitsu. Honestly, it doesn't hurt is the thing, like, that gets me. Like, it doesn't hurt. My foot has a torn ligament in it too. It doesn't hurt, but I'm not supposed to walk on it. Apparently, if I walk on it, I can get like bad stuff. Gotta let the foot heal. They put me in a stupid boot. I hate the boot. All right, NASDAQ still coming down. We're at 589s. It's an MCL. ACL's on the outside, MCL's on the inside. ACL is more unstable of an injury, though. Takes longer to heal from. MCL sucks, but it heals a little bit better. All right, we're coming back down still. Look at the red. I'm watching 24/5s here. Apple's trending down too, so is NVIDIA. AMD's dipping down too. 12:20 p.m. is the speech. I don't think we're in a recession yet, John Doe. You know, we need 2 consecutive losing GDP quarters. We don't have one yet. We had one earlier in the year, a 0.5% negative Q1, but the last one was like, what, 3.3% or something like that? We don't know what this one is because we don't have any freaking data. Actually, did we get the last GDP report? We ever get Q3 GDP estimates? It would be the initial estimate data. 2.8%. Oh, that's 2024. GDP now. I don't want that. I want the actual GDP. I don't think we got it. Last one was September 25th. Second quarter came in at 3.8%. But yeah, we don't have one negative, let alone 2. So we're not in a recession yet. We need 2 losing quarters. It was actually an Aoki lock, which is like it looks like an ankle lock, but it's really more of like a heel hook. But yeah, I turned the wrong way into it. I bursted the wrong way and heard a pop. I don't trust any of them, but they're all we have to go off of. Here, guys, I'm going to put what time Powell speaks at the bottom of the screen. We're getting so many people ask. All right, I just put it at the bottom. You should be able to see it. All right, we're under 24/6s here. 24/5s, I think, is pretty relevant also. But again, NVIDIA bounced right here at this big level. I don't know what this level is, this 185 level, or 184.75. So NVIDIA's bouncing back. It's kind of dragging the market back up. Apple is still down pretty big. I mean, it's at 245s from 247 close. Yeah, I mean, markets are scared right now. The U.S.-China trade news is making everybody fearful for sure. So. Yeah, gold has been flying up right now. Gold, look at this. Gold actually dumping down a little bit, but gold actually technically red on the day, but it got all the way up to almost $4,200 for gold. So gold has been pushing up in a crazy way. Also, guys, if you haven't checked out Top Step already, we're trading on Top Step's funded account program. They're the only sponsor I have. Genuinely useful for traders, in my opinion. No PDT rule, although I'm biased, of course. But they give you a 50K demo. It's $50 a month. If you can make 3K without losing 2K in that demo, following their rules and conditions, they fund you 50K, 90% split, pay out millions of dollars, fund thousands of traders. They're doing it the right way. You can reset funded accounts as well with the same rules as the normal funded accounts with their back to funded option. Zero commission on Top Step X. When you day trade futures, there's no PDT rule. You get started for $50. It's important to risk something and learn how to trade with risk versus just a simple paper account. But most day traders are going to lose their first few accounts. So most day traders are going to lose thousands of dollars day trading. And so just limit your risk with something like this in the beginning. It teaches you how to trade with risk, but it's less risk generally. You'll still probably lose, to be honest, because most day traders lose regardless of where they go. But it's the best way to learn with some risk, in my opinion. And I'll put the link up. Again, they are a sponsor. I'm biased, but genuinely useful. I'll put the link up. Great way to help support the channel. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. I'm not an investment professional. I don't even claim to be a good trader. I'm just here covering data, news, markets, and trade. But here's the link if you want to check it out. I appreciate the love and support. Thanks so much. Pin it to the top. You guys think we rebound from here or continue down? Rebound or continue down today? We got almost 1,100 votes. 42% think we continue down. Yeah, rare earth stocks flying up on export restrictions from China. Down. Rebound. Down. All right, we're 2-1 right now. Rebound or down? Let me know in chat, guys. Put it out. 3-1 downside. Silver? Yeah, silver's been running. Rebound, down, down. We're 5-2. 5-3, 6-3. 6-4. Yeah, you get to keep the first 10,000, I'm pretty sure. I'll have to go check, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so most people think we're going down, but it's not super divisive, I would say. All right, so the EU considers forced tech transfers for new Chinese investments, with the EU also considering enforcing joint ventures. The Indian foreign minister says discussing with Russia and Mongolia imports of Mongolian coal through Russian trade routes. Domino's said Q4 comparable sales in the U.S. could face pressure from the macro environment of things. Not really a big Domino's guy. Like, I like Domino's. Domino's wings suck. They're tiny. They got too much sauce. Sauce isn't even good. Pizza Hut's better. Every time I eat Domino's, I don't feel good, though. Maybe it's my stomach, but something about Domino's, I'm just not really, you know. Although I like their desserts more. I just can't really eat Domino's. Yeah, today's interesting for sure, heading into the opening bell. We got 40 minutes into the open. It's an interesting day for sure. Yeah, my friend wanted to buy USAR. I feel kind of bad. Look, I told him basically what I tell you all whenever I think about anything here, which is I have no freaking idea where this is going. What I told him is that it's risky, but it's big risk, big reward, you know? And I told him this just to put this into perspective. My friend came to me, and he has nothing to do with stocks. He doesn't really know much about stocks, right? And this was like a month and a half ago. And he came to me and he was like, hey, what do you think of USAR? And I told him, I was like, I don't know. I said, it's got a low float. It's up big. It seems risky to me, but it's big risk, big reward. It might go up big, right? And he told me this when it was at $13 here, really. Now it is at $40 a share. And of course, in hindsight, I wish I could be like, yeah, bro, you should have bought it. But I got to be honest, you know. Is the U.S. in a recession? No. Recession needs 2 consecutive losing GDP quarters. Yes, we're going to stream Jay Powell live fully. You'll be able to watch it. Hit the subscribe button if you want to watch it. We'll stream the whole thing live. All right, guys, NASDAQ has come all the way back up. And this is what I'm saying. Like, it's very possible for the market to range sideways here. You put up a longer term chart, like a 5-minute chart. This is a sideways looking move. You know, it might be a higher low. We might continue going like this, but I think the fears are on the downside more. I think if we start dropping and start breaking through some of these big levels, that's where people are going to start getting nervous. It's at the bottom of the screen in big yellow letters regarding when Powell speaks. 12:20. Yeah, I like watching Dave Portnoy's pizza reviews. You know. AMD starting to rebound back up. Gold's still fading. Bitcoin's kind of holding. Again, remember, we do have Jerome Powell today. No, the Fed doesn't really. The Fed doesn't really have data to guide it, right? So usually the Fed looks at CPI, it looks at PCE, it looks at payrolls, looks at labor. Most of that data does not have. Although again, they did announce that they're pushing CPI. They're going to release CPI, even though the government shut down. They are going to release CPI. It's not going to be tomorrow like it was scheduled. It was scheduled for tomorrow. They're not releasing PPI or retail sales or anything else like that this week. But they are releasing CPI. It's going to be delayed, though. It's going to be delayed to next Friday is the CPI report. Next Friday, October 24th, which is a couple days before the Fed meeting. It's 5 days before the FOMC decision. And so they're releasing it because they need it for Social Security to figure out how much inflation has risen to guide what they're going to, you know, whether they're going to bump up Social Security or not, essentially is what it is. But it's coming out next Friday on the 24th of October, 5 days before the FOMC decision. How much to invest in each month to become a millionaire? Well, it depends on how long. Pretty easy calculation here. That I would say plan for an average of about 7 to 8% conservative, like to be conservative, 7 to 8%. I would say 8, 7. But with that, it depends on how much money you have, brother. You know, you got $10,000. You do an average gain of 8%. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. $50 years, you'll have about 500K from 10K. You get 100,000, it's way different. 100,000, you'll hit that pretty quick. Yeah, in 30 years, you'll have $1.2 million from about 100K. But if you DCA long term and add into it, you'll probably do better. It just depends. Not an investment professional. Again, I'm not liable if you lose. I have no idea what I'm talking about half the time, but that's the math behind it. Yeah, I mean, look, in 30 years, it's 30 years, though. Like, look, investing is great. And it protects your money long term generally, as long as you do the right things. It protects your money long term. What they don't tell you though, right? Sure, you invest 100K in 30 years, it'll be over $1 million. That's great. In 30 years, $1 million ain't gonna be anything. You know, like just to put the inflation aspects of this, right? Like let's say we grow at an average rate of 3% inflation, right? All right, so that much money would be about $500,000 in 30 years, which is good, right? It's good. It's not nothing, but it's not going to be millionaire status like you think it is in 30 years. Inflation's going to rise. And that's if it stays under 3%, which lately it's been a little slippery there. So like I like Dave Ramsey, and I think, you know, he says a lot of good stuff, right? Helping people get financially straight, all that stuff is good. But what he doesn't tell you is that in 30 or whatever years when you retire, that $1 million is not going to be what you think it is because of inflation. You know, it might be something. It's going to profit. It's probably going to profit for sure. But it's not going to be what you think it is because inflation is going to rise so much. Imagine how much houses were 30 years ago. You know, it's just not the same thing. And what you see a lot of marketers and everybody do is they say, oh, you invest this amount, you know, in 30 years, it'll be this amount. And that's great. And they say, oh, it'll be $3 million or whatever. What they don't tell you is that it's not going to be as much money at the time as you think it is. Inflation is going to happen. And really, you could also argue, I guess, that the overarching point is to hedge against that inflation through investments. And that's true. But acting like you'll just be rich at that period of time because you invested 5K or whatever, maybe you'll make something, but it's not going to be, you're not going to be ultra wealthy probably from it. No, and I think, yeah, somebody said the best advice I have for anybody, and this is not my advice, I'm not an investment professional. I don't even know what investment advice is. I definitely don't give it out here. But somebody said the best advice I have is to invest in stuff that they like. I just ate Wendy's and it was the best burger ever. I don't know if I like Wendy's personally, but I generally agree with that. Invest in what you know. Not necessarily what you like, it's what you know. That's the key, I think. No, definitely not the same. Yeah, I'm definitely top 3 wrongest. That's even a word. I don't think it is. Top 3 wrongest ever. Any more crazy news? Well, AMD got a big deal done with Oracle. Still fears on China. Bitcoin's still down. AMD's up. Gold is pretty freaking high, but pulling back this morning. Fears of China news and rare metals export restrictions in China caused a lot of mineral companies to fly here, like USAR and others. So Bowman is speaking, says supervision should focus on material risk. So we do have Bowman speaking right now. Is she speaking? Let me see what she's speaking on. Where is... Yeah, Bowman's speaking right now. Let me see if I can find it. Just welcoming remarks. Oh no, that was a few days ago. Yesterday. Bit of international finance. A lot of people. How do I watch this a bit though? And markets are fearful right now for sure. I don't see Bowman speaking in her. Yeah, I can't find it. But Bowman said supervision should focus on material risks. Looking at other quotes from her. IMF 2026 forecast, US, Japan, UK, China nudged higher since summer, according to Wall Street Journal. IMF forecast for Canada revised down slightly. Bowman said, yeah, supervision. That's all I really see that she said. Yeah, I mean, you can like a lot of stuff that isn't good. Just put it into perspective. All right, guys, we got 30 minutes here. Let me know your favorite companies that you don't believe are going to go up long term. What companies do you like that you don't like investing in? Let me know. Yeah, we're sideways. All right, guys. NASDAQ's still ripping up here. Look at the flight up for the NASDAQ. Testing 650s right now. AMD still kind of sideways after its news release. AMD is starting to push up. It's at 185.60s right now. 25 minutes until market opens. Crocs, Apple, Verizon, Tesla, Amazon. I'm in HIMS, and I'm pretty green in it. But definitely kind of a scarier day in markets. I don't think it's going to replace Netflix, Tony. I don't think so. Netflix getting into live sports. I might be wrong, of course. Like, anything I might be wrong in. But Netflix getting into live sports. Not just that, but like, I think Netflix is going to use AI, partner with AI companies to produce more content. I don't think it's going to replace Netflix. I think Netflix is going to get involved with it. They've got a big bankroll to get involved with it. They're going to start licensing and partnering and doing all kind of stuff. And it's going to help them produce movies faster and easier than they currently produce them. I think AI might actually help Netflix. You know, you got to understand the power of big money. So. AMD unveils Helios rack scale platform for AI built on the Open Compute project Open Rack and introduced by Meta. That is not really doing much here though. Yeah, guys, we got 25 minutes until the open. Yeah, I mean, I like Mag 7 stocks mostly for swing trading. But I like, my favorite way to swing trade is just for look for big overreactions in one individual stock. I don't really like it if the market's going down, but I do like it if like a company reports earnings. I like doing it around earnings season. If a company reports earnings and it's generally a healthy company, but it has like a big overreaction to earnings, I'll buy it up, wait a few days, see if it fills some of the gap. And I would say most of the time that works. So, but not always, for sure. There's sometimes it doesn't. But a big V-shaped recovery this morning. Let's see if this holds now. Nvidia's been pushing up. Again, AMD had big news. China fears are still here. But Johnson & Johnson expects ruling on legal motions and litigation by Q1 next year. All right, guys. We're just kind of sideways here testing 650. I'm looking at news. We don't really have much coming out. Bowman's supposed to be speaking right now, but I don't really see anything from her yet. Let me see. IMF forecast. EU Economy Commissioner Dombrovsky says China is flexing its muscles on trade. So maybe Bowman didn't really say much regarding the economy or anything. Again, Powell today is set to speak on economics outlook. Markets might be worried about that, and trending sideways is something that I think could be happening here. Back over 650s. Let's watch this move back up here. Top of the range is right around 667s or so. See if that holds. The IMF official warns that diminishing trust in central banks could lead to unanchored inflation expectations. Bowman also said that the Fed is seeking input on requirements for stablecoin rules. No, I'm looking at something in a text, or not a text, an email that I have to do. It's kind of busy work I gotta do, so doing my best. But waiting for the opening bell. 20 minutes here. Slightly red on the day. Yeah, again, and it's interesting because like the deadline for the China trade deal was November. I think it's either the 1st or the 7th. And it doesn't look like we're going to get that done. And so if he pushes it back again, the question is, does that make markets react positively or negatively? He's pushed it back like 3 or 4 times already, the deadline specifically. So we will see. But yeah, the question is, does it get it done? I don't know. I'm assuming he pushes it back again. I think that's probably the probably what we're going to see. NASDAQ back under 650s, but look at the sideways chop we're getting. We're really just neutral here. If we break out of this range here. Yeah, I'm also kind of messing with my knee brace. Like, if I don't straighten my leg, straightening my leg has the least pressure, but it's hard to straighten. I have to kind of turn all the way this way to do it. So, feel a little weird this morning, but I'm okay. All right, we're starting to break down here. At Q450. That 2450 level or 24.5. Yeah, 24.5 is all the way down here. Big blue line right here is 24.5. I don't know, man. We've rebounded up over the last 30-40 minutes. Still sideways. Nvidia, AMD trying here. Apple did break down, but it bounced back over the last like 5 or 10 minutes as well. People are still fearing China relations. How am I going to say equities are exuberant? Will Powell be hawkish or dovish today, guys? Let me do a poll. We got 1,300 votes on this. Let's do a poll right now. All right, so the poll is, will Powell have a hawkish or dovish tone? Hawk, dove, neutral, data dependent is going to be the options. You know what you guys think? Verizon announces plan to offer flexible payment arrangements for Fed workers, military, and first responders. Kramer bullish on quantum stocks. I like Amazon. I think most of the country and a lot of the world is dependent on Amazon. Yeah. Dorkish. Okay. Fair. Yeah, what color will his tie be is another big question today. 15 minutes until the market opens. Will Powell have a... again, I guess it is going to be purple. Usually it's purple. Oh. Where's gold at right now? Gold dropped pretty substantially. It's now testing that previous closing price right here, which is the red to green level. Gray tie? Oh no, you don't think people interpret that as kind of bleak? All right, gold back green on the day. Technically, you can see it on the bottom right here, like kind of up relative to its previous close. Not yet, Lee. Vice Chair of Supervision Bowman continues to see 2 more rate cuts before the end of the year. Yeah, like I said, I think unless we get inflation data changing that tune, I think we're going to do 25, 25, 25. Probably. It doesn't mean we're for sure. This could always change depending on like inflation data and all that stuff. But probably 2 more rate cuts, I think, as well. How many rate cuts do you guys think we get this year? I think 2 more. Holding at the 200 exponential. Here's the 200 EMA right here. Bitcoin's still falling down here. You guys think Bitcoin's going to bounce before 110? 110's right here. And if you take a look at the actual Bitcoin chart, getting close. Everybody said it would be October. We're red in October now, aren't we? Hold on, let me see. Yes. Let's see, October. Right here. Yeah, we're red. It is technically a red October. Isn't that a band or something? Maybe it's not red October. Gold's still pushing up. The gold. Gold getting a little rebound here. October. Oh yeah, Red October's a movie. Okay, yeah, that's what it is. Wait, is it the submarine movie? Oh, The Hunt for Red October. Yes, the sub movie. My dad's into World War II, so I'm pretty sure he's forced me to watch this film when I was young. I think I've seen it as I got older. All right, guys. Bitcoin down, NASDAQ pulling back a little bit. Gold went all the way up to, look at this level right here. I don't know why I drew this level, but 41.37s. Gold react to it. Walmart plans instant checkout through ChatGPT for customer shopping. Citigroup says bank is not seeing any particular distress signs on corporate credit notes. Citi does not have any exposure to bankruptcies and fraud cases that were recent. All right. NASDAQ down, gold down. AMD up from the news, but still down over the last few minutes. I just had AI do this for me real quick. Gotta love AI. I mean, it's not Johnny Smooth cool, but definitely funny. AMD, pull it back. All right, guys, we got 9 minutes here. 9 minutes. Will the opening bell be volatile today? Well, the Fed cut today. The Fed does not make interest rate decisions today, sir. Citi CFO says Citi has been in a recession-ready mode for over a year. Says bank does not have any exposure to recent bankruptcies. You got to watch what the banks do, not necessarily what they say. A lot of time they just spew fear, but labor market has started to look weak though. $75 basis point emergency hike. That's never happening. Yeah, I think all the Fed cuts are already priced in. Yeah, government still shut down. What's today? Today is day 14. Government shut down 2 weeks in. If we look at the odds for the shutdown here, what the odds are right now. They've been going up every day. So now people think the shutdown is going to last an average of 38 days. 38 days, guys. What a wild forecast here. That'll be the longest shutdown in U.S. history. $38 days. How long do you think the shutdown will last? Give me a follow on x.com at beginner trades. Again, you'll see hilarious posts like this. You know, economic data when it's live and the government's not shut down. All right, we're getting pretty close to the open. Let's look at our poll. So 40% of people think hawkish, 34% think dovish, 27% think neutral. And most people think Powell's going to be hawkish. We don't really have any data to justify hawkish sentiment. We'll see what inflation shows. I don't think he's going to be hawkish. My guess is neutral, really. He speaks at 12:20 p.m. Eastern time today. So he speaks later. Got December. 1,000 to 1 odds. How many days would December be? Bro, they're not going to keep it shut down during the whole holiday season, I think, bro. I mean, look, 1,000 to 1 odds is 1,000 to 1 odds, though. Yeah. It's like Kevin in The Office. Anytime anybody offers you 1,000 to 1, you know. Not an investment professional, but still. Bitcoin bouncing a little bit. Let's see if it continues back up. Still at basically 111s. I think markets are waiting for Powell. We got less than 5 minutes for the opening bell. I think markets are waiting for Jerome Powell today. Powell speaks at 12:20, guys. 12:20 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to stream it live. NASDAQ still coming down. Let's watch 24/6s here. 4 minutes for the opening bell. Wells Fargo like their earnings today. Yeah, Wells Fargo's up. Or at least they were the last time I looked. Yeah, they're up. JP Morgan had good earnings, so they're down. Market could get scary at the opening bell. Y'all just be careful, man. Marab versus Yan. I got Marab, dude. That dude looks freaking crazy good lately, man. Although Peter Yan's got a little bit better cardio. Or not cardio. Peter Yan's got pretty good wrestling and takedown defense. I still think Marab's going to win, though. All right, guys. 3 minutes. 3 minutes into the bell. Bull or bear at the open? Let me know. Bull or bear at the open? Looks like most people think Powell's going to be hawkish. Yeah, Marab, dude, he's just different, man. It's hard to bet against him right now. See if he can hold that for years, but it's the pace, and his striking is good enough to make him a threat in striking too. So it's not just the takedowns, because his striking can set up the takedowns. All right, anyway, JP Morgan falling down right now, guys. Look at JP Morgan. NASDAQ moving up. JP Morgan moving down now. Bitcoin bouncing back up a little bit. Nvidia here ahead of the opening bell. Could be the market on open data. Nvidia rebounding a little bit too here. And then now Nvidia just turned down as well, but still holding at that 184.75 level I have on my charts. I thought Peter Yan beat Sean O'Malley when they fought. Nvidia now red on the, or now under this big level. Let's see if it holds. Bitcoin back up though. 2 minutes, chat, 2 minutes. Yeah, I am seeing a little bit of volatility, but we got some stuff moving up and then some stuff moving down. And so the net effect in like indexes is sideways right now. But again, we got about a minute left. Maybe we'll see some fireworks at the open. I don't know. Just be careful. Yesterday, the market rebounded big. There's risks on both sides today. We start breaking down deep. I think it looks really bad, but look at 24 fives right here. 24 fives a level I'm definitely watching right here. The low of the big drop is at like 24,160, 24,150. So we got some levels there to watch, but again, y'all just be careful right now. Market's mostly sideways in range here. 40 seconds. A lot of U.S. metal companies and precious metal companies are going up right now. USAR, I don't know much about that one, but gold technically red on the day. Nvidia down over the last 2 minutes. NASDAQ now pushing up though. Yeah, this is Apple driving it higher, I think. Apple's moving up over the last 5 minutes, but all right, guys, here we go. Here's the open. Good luck. All right, I'm going to give 5 minutes here. Let this play out a little bit more. Nvidia's down, though, over the last 5 minutes. Doesn't mean the market's going to stay down, though. All right, there's the drop, 24 sixes. Look at this drop. Apple dropping, Nvidia dropping right now. Nvidia hit 184s. We got a red candle at the open. Let's see what happens, though. We're still pretty sideways over the last few hours, really. Apple dipping, Nvidia dipping. Doesn't mean much, though. See if this dip gets balled up or not. Nvidia's still falling down at 183s. Nvidia's still falling. 183.20s. Nvidia's down like 5% over the last few days, really. It was at 195s. It's at under 185s right now. For a $200 company, that's 5% roughly, but we're getting some buys stepping in here for Apple. But Nvidia's all the way down to 183s, under 183s, now 182s. Look at Nvidia right here, though. what it does. Again, we're 2 minutes into the day. I gotta kind of chill here and wait. Jerome Powell speaks at 12:20 Eastern. Look at NVIDIA breaking lows again. 182.38 is the lows, but NASDAQ's still pretty strong here. I think Apple's starting to move up, which is kind of helping things. Gold right at the previous close. Bitcoin back up a little bit. Here's Apple, Amazon, Meta. Google's pushing up too. NVIDIA's falling though. Look at this. 182.50s. All right, guys, we are now 3 minutes into the day here. I'm still quiet, waiting. NVIDIA just broke under 182s now. 4 big red candles at the open. Although the NASDAQ is kind of muted here. It's not really the biggest negative reaction. More drops coming along. Looks heavy. 575. Underneath it now. Red action for sure at the opening bell here. All right, we're down at 550. Let's watch this 550 level right here, right around here. Testing lows of the day. We're about 4.5 minutes into the day, but man, we're testing some big levels here. Maybe we'll have some extension on the downside, but I gotta wait. Again, here's NVIDIA. Super weak. Here's the low. Not the low of the day, though. Low of the day is 24.5s. Yeah. Maybe we're gonna get a liquidity grab up here. Again, it's too heavy right now for me to really attack this on either side, I think. Right now, I gotta just wait. Still looking really weak, man. Market's dumping down right now. Yeah, y'all be careful. Deep red showing up. Yikes. Still dropping here. Definitely some heavy red though. Y'all just be careful. Going quick here though, guys. Look at 24.5s right below us. Yikes, guys. Y'all just be careful. This is a weak open. Goldman Sachs CEO says he is encouraged by steady pickup in sponsor deals lately. I might try to buy 24.5s down here. See if this is where the action stops. It's risky, but I want 24.5s. Let's see if I can get it. All right, we're gonna start buying it here. Definitely risky. There we go. We're in 2 micros. I'm gonna cut at some of this actually right here. It broke down really fast. Yeah, we covered. This breakdown is really quick. Small. Watch 450s now. This is a brutal drop. Brutal drop here, guys. Look at this drop. Bloody, bloody drop so far. All right, we're actually scalping a little bit in our other account. We're up about 100 in this one. I'll put that one up right now, but you gotta just be careful. All right, we did take another position here. I'll show you. We're up some, but I'm going to let it work here. I got to cut it if it starts to really break down. I want to see if it rebounds more. All right, I'm going to cut it right there, actually. Maybe I could have held. What a drop, guys. Yeesh, dude. That's a bad drop. Again, it's NVIDIA related. NVIDIA dipped under 180s. This is why I bought the last one, is because NVIDIA was right here at 180s. I think NVIDIA is leaving the market. But if NVIDIA breaks under 180s and holds, I think that's a really scary thing you got to be careful for. Yeah, gold, if we take a look at it. I don't really trust this rebound either, but I don't want to buy this up, actually. Let me try. We got a cushion on the day, but if it starts to flush fast, we got to cut it. Flat. There we go. I'm going to cut half of it there just to protect it. Flush, I'm going to cut it. Still green on the day in this one. Harder to catch, I think. Gotcha. Gold coming all the way back up to 4140s here. We're going to test lows again. I think there's a lot of sell orders right now in this market, so y'all just got to be careful. We start to really test these lows. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's risks for sure. Look like it wants to hold up, but it might just flush everybody out too. It looks heavy though. We're green on the day net, I think, or somewhere close to it. Yeah, gold's flying up to 4150s right now, or 4141s. Yeah, we're right here at lows. Y'all just be careful. I don't know. Jerome Powell, maybe people are worried about what he's going to say. He's supposed to speak at 12:20. So we will see what he says. He's supposed to speak at 12:20 though. There's the break. Watch 450s, but it doesn't mean we're going to stop there. We haven't really been stopping there lately. But there's the break. Watch 450s. Nvidia retesting 180 is what's dragging the market quickly back down. Apple's also fading back down a little bit as well. Watch 450s. We're down here now. All right, brutal breakdown under 450s here. Nvidia testing 180s. Apple's flushing down. Yikes here, guys. Okay, so just to give you guys some levels that you want to pay attention to right now on this big brutal market breakdown here. I think the first level on the NASDAQ is the low at 24,158.50 right here. This is the low of Friday's big red action. This is equities mostly. Bitcoin's down a little bit, but not a ton. It's down on the day, don't get me wrong, but it's not really following the market brutally down like the NASDAQ is right now. Look at the NASDAQ flush, 24,440s right now. Let's watch 450s. Get Bitcoin kind of rising back. Here's Nvidia. This is what's driving it. Look, Nvidia down to 180s right now. IMF chief economist says China still has a lot of non-performing loans in property sector. I think we want to bounce here though, but it's risky. I don't know if I want to buy it necessarily. It's all going to depend on Apple and Nvidia rebounding. All right, we crack lows again. Are you guys trying to buy right now or not? I'm not. I don't know if I'm saying that. But market's a little scary right now. Oh, Kim says lost an eval. I mean, if that's the worst that can happen right now, that's not that the worst. Should have bought it right when I said it. Look at this. Big bump back up here. Like I said, it looked extended. A lot of it depends on what Apple and Nvidia do. If Apple bounces at 180s, market might come back. Same thing with, if Nvidia bounces at 180, market might come back. And that's kind of what we're seeing, Nvidia ripping back up. Ericsson hasn't gone anywhere since the opening bell. Campbell. And I'm not buying it anyway. I just don't know enough about it. You know, I'm not against it. If it goes up, great. I'm just not really. I don't know enough about it. All right, let's watch 24/5s here, though. (1.5% on the day for the S&P. Down 1.5 today. Goldman Sachs down 5.5% this morning. Yeah, look at Goldman here. I guess we're still trying to hold. I don't know if we're going to, but we're trying here. Again, I think a lot of it depends on Nvidia and Apple right now. NASDAQ back up. It's testing 24.5s right now. Big psychological level, 24.5s. I think 24,000 is a pretty relevant level in all this too. All right, we're back up to 24.5, still testing it here. Yeah, we're going to stream the Powell speech live, right? As soon as we close the stream down, it'll bring you to the Powell speech that we got scheduled already. So you'll be able to watch it live here. Hit the subscribe button. We'll cover it. NASDAQ now back over 24.5s. Again, check out Top Step. You want to help support the channel. No PDT in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, gold, some currencies. Very similar to day trading stocks, much less risk than day trading stocks funding your own account thousands of dollars. No PDT rule in futures. You could day trade the S&P, Dow, Russell. Very similar to day trading equities. You can risk $50 though versus thousands funding your own account. It makes no sense to fund your own account. Again, check out Top Step. They're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. Understand all this stuff on screen. And again, guys, we will be covering the full Jerome Powell speech later. It's not a Fed decision or anything like that. It's just a speech, but he is scheduled to give economic outlook. I checked last year when we covered the same speech, and he did speak on economic outlook last year in the same NABE speech that he did. I think it's an interview. So I think he's going to give economic outlook, and then he's going to sit down and get interviewed, right? Is what I think I'm pretty sure is going to happen. And again, we'll stream the whole thing live right here. So subscribe. NASDAQ is down substantially on the day. Second red day in a row, or actually yesterday was green. But it's been a scary week here for markets. Yeah, Bitcoin back up a little bit on the day. Let's see if it holds. It's still pretty, or back up a little bit, but it's still red. Here's the previous close for Bitcoin, roughly at 116. Bitcoin at 111s right now. So it's still got a long fight its way back up to go green on the day, but if anything can do it, Bitcoin can. You just got to check with them, Ulrich. You got to make 3K without losing 2K following their rules. There's some rules. You got to have a minimum of 2 days and some other stuff. What can influence markets this week? Bank earnings, maybe. Powell can influence markets. China versus the president can certainly move markets. That's what's moved markets over the last week. That's what tanked markets down on Friday. That's what influenced markets today is U.S.-China relations. They restricted exports. We responded with 100% tariffs. Markets fearful. The president backtracked a little bit, but it's still pretty fearful right now in those relations. So that's what's influencing markets negatively. Yeah, Bitcoin, you can do it. As somebody from Louisiana, you can do it, Bitcoin. Waterboy that stock, that's right. Greedy when others are fearful. Top 3 greediest today, I think. Bitcoin dumping down. We'll see. We'll see, guys. Buyers are stepping in. Yeah. I mean, this is mostly, like, if you look at it, a lot of this is driven by Nvidia. And NVIDIA's holding at 180. Whole dollar number, 180. You can see 180 number is right here. And that's where Bitcoin's holding, is 180. Or and not Bitcoin, that's where NVIDIA's holding, right? And NVIDIA rebounding is causing the market to rebound back up a little bit as well. Same thing with like Apple. Apple started really red on the day, rebounded a little bit. So it has to be 50-50 for 2 days, X. You can make a little bit over, you can make a little bit over, like, you can make probably like 1590 to 1410 day to day and still pass it. That's what I did yesterday. I passed another one yesterday. All right, guys, Apple rebounding, NVIDIA bouncing back up a little bit, holding at 180s. I think that's a big level right now, is NVIDIA 180s, guys. Still trying. Visa's up a lot, but it is pulling back a little bit from 375s, but I don't know. I think a lot of stuff is a little sketchy right now. They might continue up, but I think a lot of stuff's constant. All right, starting to get bought up here. Over 24.5s. Nvidia getting bought up. Apple getting bought up. What if companies are making deals with AMD just to get in? No, I don't think that's what's going on. Gold, yeah, gold futures at 41.30s. Silver's been having a crazy week too. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times investors have a buy the dip mentality. It doesn't mean anything. It could be a continuation though. Like nothing, and there's always variance. Like here's a resistance level right here, like right where we're at now. So I mean, I think if we get over this resistance level, that's a really optimistic sign. What I mean by this resistance level is like 575 right here. If we get over 575, it's an optimistic sign. Gap is basically filled back to the upside, so we basically filled the whole gap to the downside. We might have a big range until Jerome Powell speaks as well, just because people are worried about what he might say to influence markets. So he speaks in a few hours, but no, Powell speaks at 12:20 p.m. Eastern time. I think. Pretty sure. Yeah, Powell 12:20 p.m. Eastern. All right, guys, let's watch 575. Again, I think this is a big milestone level if we can get over it. But NVIDIA is what's influencing things a lot, I think, here. It is roughly 10 a.m. The 12:20 is in 2 hours and 24 minutes exactly. All right, let's watch 575 right here. I think it's a big level. Just in terms of extension and optimism. If we get over that and hold, I think that's good. You think I'm wearing my brown pants? I think Powell will probably be neutral as well, but, you know. He's usually balanced, but you never freaking know, man. All right, we're over that level here. Let's watch the 24.6 level now, but we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pretty green 1-minute candles in a row now. Let's see if we continue back. I'm reading the chat, Kay. I'm not saying I'm lucky I wore my brown pants. I'm saying I'm just reading pew-pews. You know. Are you buying OpenAI when it IPOs regardless of price? Regardless of price, no. All right, so now we're back down under 575. Couldn't quite hold it. Watch 550 here, see if it bounces. I think I might try to buy it right here, actually. Let me wait. I might get 525s down there. Look at 525s. The problem is Nvidia's coming back down, but Nvidia doesn't mean too much yet. I'll show you guys this trade. Where am I? There I am. All right, I'm gonna take half off there, lock it in. We got a big bounce there. There we go. You love to see this. Let me go ahead and take this off here and just scalp this move. All right, you're gonna make me mark it out. That's fine. Yeah, we're very green on the day now. I mean, we've been catching it well. Long term, I think it's less likely that we rebound all this way and then continue all the way back down and break, but anything could happen. The reason that's why I bought this down here is because I just assumed we were gonna go, you know. So far that's what we've done. No, he speaks at 12:20 p.m. Eastern time. It is currently 10 a.m. Eastern time. He speaks in 2 hours and 2 hours and 20 minutes. All right, there's 10 o'clock. I don't think we had any data come out at 10, but let me just make sure. Not even looking at the data anymore. I know tomorrow we got like Empire State data. Tomorrow we actually have some data. We got the Empire State data. I'm pretty sure that comes out too. All right. Gold's still heading up. Yeah, Empire State coming out tomorrow. Empire State Manufacturing Survey. It's released by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, so it'll be out. It's not the government. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut it. Remember, Powell speaks in 2.5 hours. We will be live. As soon as we close this stream, it's going to bring you to that stream. Okay, just to clarify. As soon as we close the stream, it's going to bring you to that stream. All right. Speaks at 12:20 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to check out Top Step before we leave, I'll put the link up one more time. Great way to learn. Most day traders lose. Limit your risk. Learn without the burn. Top Step's the best option. Great way to learn how to trade with limited risk. $50 versus thousands funding your own account and probably losing it. Again, they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. Understand all this stuff on screen. There's the link right there. Again, we're going to be back in a few hours here, guys. So, as soon as I close this stream, it's going to bring you to that stream. Stick around and wait for it. All right. No bathroom breaks. I expect you to wait there. We're going to start the stream, you know, early. So, I'll see you guys over there. Y'all be good. Have a great day.